Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views. First in the news, violators of the No Contact Apprehension Policy or NCAP climbed to over 1,000 as of Monday. Here's our report.
This is what EDSA rush hour looked like on Monday. Unlike before, there's fewer or almost no enforcers on the road. Those who did show up said they were only there to assist.
Napansin po natin na medyo marami mga motorista, especially mga nakamotor na umiwas po sa bike lane. Siguro gawa na rin po ng NCAP nga po natin. And then yung sa mga situation naman, yung challenges natin yan. So far, kailangan natin mag-visibility sa area para makapag-assist tayo ng maayos sa mga motorista.
24 hours following its re-implementation, No Contact Apprehension Policy or NCAP violators reached more than 1,000. These motorists will receive citation tickets via the registered mail. The MMDA, though, is still working with telcos, so violators could be advised via text as well. According to the MMDA, NCAP is not a mere money-making venture.
Wala po kami sa business ng panghuhuli. Ang panghuhuli po namin ay para po sa disiplina ng ating mga kababayan na dapat po sumunod sila sa traffic rules for safety and para po walang chaos sa kalsada.
Meanwhile, the agency denied the legitimacy of a circulating link called May Violation Ba. This supposedly allows motorists to check online for NCAP violations. They warned the public against posting or sharing the link to prevent confusion. The MMDA noted that they are still working on the official app. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA will implement a 24-hour odd-even number coding scheme along EDSA beginning Monday, June 16. During the one-month dry run, violators will only receive tickets without fines, said MMDA Chairman Don Artes. The agency also clarified that the odd-even scheme will replace the regular coding scheme during the rebuilding. Under the scheme, vehicles with plate numbers ending in odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 will not be allowed on EDSA on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Meanwhile, those with even numbered plates 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 will be restricted on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. There will be no number coding on Sundays, allowing unrestricted access for all private vehicles.
Now let's check the situation over at EDSA. We have with us mobile journalist Evan Tarinque. Good morning, Evan.
Diego, good morning.
Kamusta na ang situation dyan sa EDSA and traffic? Evan, where are you right now specifically?
Yes, Diego, nandito tayo currently sa EDSA Cubao. Kung sakali, kung makikita nyo sa sa likuran ko, no, ikot na lang din natin para makita ng mas maayos. Ito yung parte nga southbound. No? Ito yung pa-northbound. Yung kabila naman, yung pa-southbound. Yung nakikita natin yung mga pa-southbound na sasakyan, doon natin madalas nakikita yung talagang merong mabigat na build-up ng traffic. So itong northbound, wala masyado, maluwag. Pero yung southbound, doon tayo nakaka-experience ng medyo mabigat na daloy ng traffic, Diego.
Pero Evan, di ba, hindi pa naman nag-start ang actual rebuilding kasi nag-gather pa lang, alam ko, ng mga materials saka yung mga gagamitin ng mga machines. So, do you see any of these machines already being pre-positioned? Alam ko sa Center Island daw ilalagay yan eh.
Diego, as of this morning, no, wala pa tayong nakikita mga heavy machineries na gagamitin para nga dito sa rehabilitation ng EDSA. Ang mga nakikita lang natin, yung ilang mga painters, mga ilang ng MMDA na nagpipinta ng mga Center Island. Pero as far as itong mga heavy machineries, wala pa naman tayong nakikita as of this morning. Diego.
Evan, this is the second day of re-implementation of NCAP. Kamusta naman yung pulso ng mga motorista natin dyan? Specifically, kung nasaan ka, kung nakausap mo man sila, sila ba ay sumasang-ayon dito sa re-implementation ng NCAP o may mga agam-agam din sila?
Angela, actually, marami sa mga nakausap natin ay talaga may agam-agam pagdating dito sa NCAP. No? Lalo na yung mga sasakyan at yung mga talagang mga TNBS riders. No? Dahil yun nga, kabuhayan daw kasi nila yung pwedeng maapektuhan sa NCAP na ito, no? Kinausap natin yung ilan. Parang natatakot daw sila bumiyahe. Ngayon, dahil nga, no, baka onting pagkakamali lang daw, onting pagpas ng linya, magkaroon kagad sila ng violation. Na yung imbes na ipang-uwi nila raw sa kanilang mga pamilya, ipambabayad nila sa ticket na kanilang makukuha dahil nga dito sa NCAP. Angela.
Yes, Ivan, with the NCAP in place, so mas konti ba nakikita mong presence ngayon ng mga MMDA officers?
Actually, Diego, it's the same, no? May mga umiikot pa rin, may mga nakikita pa rin tayong nakatayo sa kanilang istasyon. And para sa kanila, talagang additional help lang sila, no? Dahil meron ng NCAP na implemented. Ngayon, additional help lang sila doon sa mga motorista kung mayroong kailanganin. Yung iba, kung may masiraan, etc. Pero in terms of NCAP, yung dami nila, in terms of NCAP, nandun pa rin yung visibility nila sa kahabaan ng EDSA.
Okay, para malinaw, Evan, no, during the rebuild phase at habang naka-NCAP tayo, yung mga MMDA officers hindi mahuhuli para hindi na mag-stop ang mga vehicle. Therefore, smoother ang flow. Ganun ba mangyayari?
Yes, that's the plan, Diego. No? Yun nga kasi ang main purpose nitong non-contact apprehension para mas mabilis yung biyahe, yun nga, no? Pero unfortunately, para doon nga sa ilang mga motorista, no? May sasakyan man yan, mapasasakyan man yan, or mapa-rider ng motor, para sa kanila, it's a challenge, panibagong challenge na naman. Dahil yun nga, baka mabigla sila matikitan out of nowhere at magulat na lang sila. Magkagulatan na lang daw sila at meron na naman silang violation na natanggap. And yun nga, no, ang mabigat kasi dito, no, Diego, is pag nahuli ka, mabigyan ka ng ticket, hindi ka makakapag-renew ng 10 years sa iyong driver's license. Diego.
Oo, meron ka bang impormasyon ngayon na Evan doon kasi sa second day ng re-implementation ng NCAP ng mga violators kung ilan na as of now?
Yes, Angela, as of this morning, no, overnight kasi to, no, tuloy-tuloy yung nangyayaring NCAP, and we're checking the details. I believe it's nasa 100 plus. No, 141 from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. No? So marami pa rin nahuhuli dahil nga dito sa NCAP. No? Ang pinakamarami talaga dito is yung from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. So yun, nasa 45 yung nahuli ng mga oras na yun, Angela.
Alright, sige, maraming salamat sa iyo. Mobile journalist Evan Tarinque reporting live from EDSA. Now, let's also discuss some matters with Robert C. Jr., co-convener of Move as One Coalition, joining us today via Zoom. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Diego. Thank you for inviting me to News and Views.
Yes, and thanks for joining us as well. Siguro yung question na lang po muna namin, sir, yung what is the current stance of Move as One Coalition regarding the pedestrian regulations here in the Philippines?
You know, this is really a matter for concern. All of us, anyone crossing a pedestrian lane, walang humihinto, right? How can we change behavior? And for me, the number one factor should be the certainty of being penalized. So ito yung maganda sa NCAP. And this is already global practice. It works all over the world. Camera-based apprehension is the one thing that can change behavior.
So you're saying, sir, that it's a good deterrent. However, yung mga agam-agam daw ng iba is hindi daw maayos yung system sa end-user base. So ang gusto ng iba, let's perfect muna the system before we actually go through with an NCAP. And then maybe pwede na itong gawin long-term. Ano po reaction nyo dyan?
I believe we need to see how it works. Syempre, apprehensive tayo at the start. But we have already had several years of NCAP operation and even a long period during which it was suspended. And I'm sure yung mga operators nito have had a chance to work on fixing any bugs. So let's see, let's give it a chance. And today, yung feedback namin from mga vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists, yung mga members namin sa Move as One Coalition, the feedback is very positive. It is actually influencing behavior, especially in terms of protecting yung mga bicycle lanes.
Yeah. Regarding my question earlier regarding po dun sa pedestrian lane po ng stance po ng Move as One Coalition. Yesterday po kasi sumama po kayo kay DOTR Secretary Vince Dizon para po maglakad doon sa mga several pedestrian lanes ng Metro Manila. Kamusta po 'yon? What was your assessment?
You know, this is a very good question, Angela. I wish you could also join us. Next time, we'll invite you.
Sure.
You know, EDSA is a hell for pedestrians. And this is, for me, a matter of national shame. How can we have our most important corridor be so hostile and unsafe for pedestrians? So much so that everyone is compelled to actually move around in a private motor vehicle.
Yes.
So ito yung, in a way, the reason why we have so much traffic heat and pollution on EDSA. Dahil sa, we have become motor vehicle dependent. What did we find on EDSA? Puro lubak, puro cracks, puro obstacles. If you are a pedestrian, you are practically forced to walk on the carriageway and mix with motor vehicles. And if you are a person with disability,
That's
it's
right.
practically impossible.
Right.
So, you know, our infrastructure agencies, our traffic management agencies, MMDA and DPWH, they are obliged to create a pedestrian pathway that is safe and accessible for persons of all abilities. That is in our national law, and that is our national policy. We should use EDSA Rehab to achieve that. And this is what Sec Vince Dizon is pushing, and we should all stand behind him on this particular objective.
Regarding regarding that issue, no, sir. For example, like you have Italy, you have Hong Kong, you have the U.S., specifically Manhattan, New York City. Their designs are patterned in such a way that it's either walkable, drivable, di ba? So you have a lot of options, and that's the key to being progressive. Now the question is, with the rebuild of EDSA coming up, have you heard of any plans of during the rebuild to make EDSA friendlier, not only for pedestrians, also for cyclists and everyone?
This is what DOTR is pushing for, and Secretary Vince Dizon. We need to create a safe space on the curbside that will be spacious enough for both pedestrians and bicycles. So, for me, that is a minimum requirement sa EDSA rebuild. We should not lose this once in a lifetime opportunity. And you know, you mentioned, Sir Diego, about the plans in other countries. I don't know if I can show you yung original design ng EDSA. What was intended for EDSA? Let me show you this picture.
Yes. I see the
Here
picture.
we have the design by Antonio Toledo in 1939. And this is an EDSA with a 10-meter wide pedestrian space that is shaded on each side. So EDSA, what's intended to be green and pedestrian friendly. And today, this is the type of EDSA that we need. It's the EDSA that will give us, I think, relief from our traffic misery, because we will enable many Filipinos to actually use to go on foot or on bicycles for short trips.
Yeah.
It will actually reduce also our urban heat island effect by providing shading. It will give us green space. And this is what all Metro Manilans need.
Parang sir, similar sa Ross Boulevard ang intent, no?
Yes, sir. And you know, traffic will always be there. the motor vehicles will be there. So when we talk about odd even, si Chairman Artes can impose odd even. But, mark my word, we all know this. There will be traffic again on EDSA in a few weeks because those people who have the opportunity to buy a second
Yes,
vehicle
I
or
was gonna
third
ask
vehicle,
that.
they will do that and then they will go back to
Right,
EDSA.
right,
Tama mo
right.
na,
So
sir,
very
ang ano,
quickly,
HEV,
quick-
hybrid.
he is giving auto dealers the best sales opportunity of this year.
I was gonna ask that.
Congratulations, Chairman Artes, for helping our motor vehicles sales, but that is not what we need.
That is not our agenda in the first place, ika nga. I was really gonna ask that kasi a lot of people are saying na with the rebuilding of EDSA, meron tayong re-implementation ng NCAP, tapos here comes odd-even scheme. Don't you think, do you agree also with the critics that saying na car-centric at saka non-inclusive itong mga yeah.
Tama, Angela. We do not need more of the same. Already, we know that these formulas that enhance, in a way, the travel of motor vehicles will not work. Induced demand will generate, the demand for more motor vehicle use. So this is what we want to avoid. We should now make more attractive public transport, walking and cycling. These are the inclusive, sustainable, and people-oriented travel modes.
Right.
So what's
And
your...
this is the formula that we need
Yes.
if we want a more livable Metro Manila, if we want more dignified travel. So please, let us not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's time to go with a people-centric EDSA, and let's achieve that.
So are you looking forward to, sir, when the subway comes into fruition? Do you think it will help?
The subway will be great. We need to actually also push for these major infrastructure projects. But yung rail projects natin will still take a long time. It will still be delivered in the next administration or even beyond. What we need in order for yung quick results, early results, and low-hanging fruit. And that means focusing on our road-based public transport, making our buses and jeepneys more efficient, putting them on dedicated lanes as much as possible, and enhancing yung options for walking and cycling to get to destinations. So let's give people travel options, maski may traffic, yung mga kotse, yung mga motorsiklo, let's give them options so they can leave their vehicles at home.
So what happens now po doon sa mga pedestrians natin while we are waiting for the EDSA rebuilding? Yan po ay mangyayari, patse-patse, mauuna po daw yung sa may Pasay, and then most probably mas ta-traffic daw po pag nagsimula ng gawin yun sa may Guadalupe, no? Dahil that is a connection ng Makati to EDSA Mandaluyong.
Well, perhaps we have no choice, but if we put our heart to it and focus on making that pedestrian path a viable one, it can actually be done within 12 months. And we will have a different Metro Manila if we're able to accomplish that. So, if you can imagine, a sidewalk on EDSA for its entire length, that is the width of one motor vehicle lane. So that would be about 3.5 meters, which would be dedicated for pedestrians and bicycles. So if we can accomplish that, that would transform the entire character of EDSA and even the travel patterns of Metro Manilans. Let's go for that.
Yeah. All right, we hope to talk to you again after the rehabilitation, rebuilding of
Or
the
even
EDSA.
during, just to
to see what's
sentiment, no?
happening.
Oo.
All right,
Let's
and
do
we're
that.
looking
Happy
forward to do
come
the...
back here.
Opo.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward also doon po sa invite nyo na maglalakad din tayo. Doon sa...
Sige, maglakad tayo. And we'll try to schedule that.
Right.
Thank you, Ma'am Angela, Sir Diego.
Thank
Thank you
you,
po.
Robert C. Jr., co-convener of Move as One Coalition. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. A poll conducted by Pulse Asia Research shows that majority of the respondents still trust the Dutertes. Here's the report.
Net trust ratings of President Bongbong Marcos are in the negative, days before Bilang Pilipino 2025. Only 32% of respondents said they have big trust in the president, while 42% expressed small or no trust. With 27% saying they are unsure, these result in a net trust rating of -10 for Marcos. On the other hand, Vice President Sara Duterte and her father, former President Digong, were more trusted. 50% said they have big trust of the VP, while 25% had little or no trust, bringing her rating to +25%. The former president, meanwhile, earned the highest trust rating among three, with a net trust rating of +46. As for the timing, Pulse Asia President Ronald Holmes clarified that compiling the trust ratings took some time.
We had to cull the data from the COMELEC. So this is not the only thing in that survey. So aside from the election data, we also have the trust ratings of the top two officials and the former president.
Holmes added that they compare the trust ratings to better assess the preferences of voters and how political tensions may have influenced their choices during the recent midterm elections.
In the case of the former president, of course, as social scientists, we need to find out essentially whether there's an erosion or a sustenance or even an increase in terms of the former president's trust rating. And we don't see that. We don't see that compared to the September survey, although his trust rating is higher than his daughter and even the sitting president right now.
Outgoing Senator Bong Revilla will file cyber-libel charges against individuals who purportedly spread fake news against him. According to his camp, this was likely the reason for his loss in his senatorial re-election bid this 2025. Lawyer Raymond Fortun specifically mentioned false information about the Sandigan Bayan ruling on the PDAF plunder case against Revilla. Fortun said Revilla has decided to defend his and the family's reputation by exercising the legal remedies against fake news.
Well, it's a free country. They can do that, di ba?
No, I mean,
Tsaka
yeah.
siya daw ang if I'm not mistaken, one of the co-authors of this law, yung cyber libel.
Yes. Totoo naman na may mga fake news kumalat against a lot of the candidates. No? But I don't think this is one of the main reasons kung bakit siya natalo. Kasi di ba nagkaroon tayo ng discussions with a lot of people. Kung yung ano daw is sawa na sila sa dynastic politics.
Kasi even in Cavite, di ba, siya lang dun sa family nila yung hindi na
nanalo. Everyone else, they won eh.
But anyway, several petitions have been filed before the Supreme Court regarding the results of the recently concluded 2025 midterm elections. Here's the report.
A flurry of petitions has been filed before the Supreme Court following the 2025 midterm elections. Among them is the OFW party list, which is pushing for increased congressional representation for marginalized groups, including overseas Filipino workers and seafarers. They argued that more groups should be included beyond the 54 proclaimed winners and proposed increasing the total to 64 seats. The group also criticized what they call a system skewed toward powerful and well-funded groups. Representative Marisa Del Mar Magsino claimed she was offered money in exchange for a seat, which she firmly rejected.
Ang OFW hindi po titigil, lalaban hanggang dulo dahil alam ko na panalo po ang OFW party list. Ang laban po ito sa mga laylayan. Sana po yung mga nagre-represent, totoo namang nagre-represent. Ang dami pong party list, nakita namin, hindi ko alam kung sino-sino itong mga to nanalo. Anong sektor nanalo?
In another petition, Vice Mayor-elect Harold Respicio of Reyna Mercedes Isabela is seeking the Supreme Court to block COMELEC's suspension of his proclamation. The poll body halted his proclamation due to a disqualification case involving alleged election misinformation. Meanwhile, the Makabayan Bloc filed a resolution in the House of Representatives calling for an investigation into supposed irregularities in the automated election system. COMELEC, for its part, said it respects the right of parties to go to the Supreme Court and commits to comply with any ruling the High Court may issue. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
And to provide insights into these developments, we are joined by Arjan Aguirre, Assistant Professor at Ateneo de Manila University's Political Science Department. Prof, thank you for joining us once again.
Hello, good morning.
Alright, siguro, madami kasing na pag-uusapan ngayon eh. Siguro, let's go to the latest survey ng Pulse Asia, kung saan nakalagay po doon, pinakamataas pa rin po ng rating or trust rating itong mga Duterte. Were you surprised by that result? That was, I think, done a week before the elections.
Honestly, no, I'm not really surprised. This is something that, I expected because as early as February, in fact, as early as December of last year, I have noticed some, changes with the way, the supporters of the Duterte camp are, conducting, their campaigns. Most of the time, you can see this online. So it intensified during the, campaign period wherein you saw many people, influencers, talking heads, talking about, the impeachment case. And when Duterte, the father, was arrested in March, again, the messaging became clearer. It helped the campaign of the senatorial candidates of the Duterte camp. And with this recent Pulse Asia survey, this is something that that only reflects the changing mood or the public opinion this last month.
Yeah, but can we still say that, can we believe this survey still? Kasi these are the same parang survey firm na...
Took out sila, bam.
Oo, diba? Sabi nila, before, iba yung lumabas din dun sa, sa naging midterm election results natin.
There's no reason to be skeptical about the surveys, especially, please don't forget that most of the people behind the survey firms are well-known social scientists of our country. And they have explained also their methodology, and I'm also aware that they have also explained what happened. Again, they did not miss naman eh. They did not, parang commit, a mistake when it comes to giving us the information about, regarding the polls of the people for a particular month. Again, surveys, don't forget, they are just, snapshots of a particular period of time. And again, in 1 month, and anything can change. Eh. So yun yung aking point dito.
Yeah, but does this translate into the numbers that we see for former President Duterte? Will it automatically translate to VP Sara's stock value going up? Kasi we can see also, as of that survey, medyo mababa rin si VP Sara compared to her father. Diba? And we all know kasi it's easier to say, oh, you like the performance of a former president dahil alam mong wala na siya sa poder.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the mysteries that we have to, to consider regarding the relationship between a very popular populist, figure.
Correct.
That is, of course, Rodrigo Roa Duterte and his daughter. So, Vice President Sara Duterte. So, one thing that we should highlight there is that yes, the popularity, the charisma, sympathy of the people, mukhang hindi siya transferable. But I think one of the, sabihin nating, success stories of this, political cycle is that the daughter knew what to do. Especially nung ina-attack na siya, nagamit niya kasi yung tatay niya eh. At yun nga, nag-connect na ito nung inaresto rin si Rodrigo Roa Duterte nung March. So yun yung parang pwede nating ma-explain dito kung bakit yun nga sa Duterte brand or dun nga sa Duterte faction, meron dynamics din yung mag-ama. Tapos nagagamit ng mga Duterte allies yung popularity ng tatay. But again, the point here is that Rodrigo Roa Duterte is, a sui generis politician.
Yes.
His popularity, his sabihin nating ways of doing things, hindi siya matatransfer kung kanino man.
Right. As I've mentioned earlier, ito daw pong survey na ito ay nagawa a week before the elections. And just in case, doon po sa ginawa last week at a statement ng Pangulo natin saying heads will roll, magpapalit ng mga gabinete and seeing the results of it na parang nagregudon lang, nagpalit-palit lang ng posisyon pero somehow same people are still there. Do you think magkakaroon pa rin ng movement yung kanyang trust rating pagkatapos nito?
They have to do something drastic. I mean, extraordinary that would, have a big impact in the coming months. Yun yung aking siguro point dito. Again, it's so hard. It's so hard to sabihin natin to weaken the popularity of the Dutertes, especially at this point na mukhang na talaga nanalo sila nung eleksyon. Tapos now that we are expecting the impeachment trial to happen this July, I'm sure the Marcos government is already thinking of how to recover. And I'm sure one of the things that they're considering yung pagririgo doon, tapos they will think of a new government program na makakaapekto talaga sa ordinaryong tao. So, yun yung nakikita ko approach nila eh. And I think mahihirapan sila kung magsisettle na naman sila doon sa business as usual nila na tahimik lang. Yeah.
Opo. Yung gagawin daw po, yung plano supposedly ng DILG to ask or request The Hague, yung ICC, para makapanumpa si former President Rodrigo Duterte bilang mayor. Is that even a good move on the president's side?
I think okay lang naman. Okay lang naman siguro yon given na kumbaga may legal basis naman eh. So kapag pinagdamot kasi nila ito or hindi nila pinayagan, mas lalo lang siguro magagalit yung mga supporters ng mga Duterte.
But the question now is, second part of PBBM's presidency, and historically, you take a look back at all the other second parts of all the presidents past, most of their numbers except PRRD's went down. Do you see PBBM's numbers now start to curve going down on a steep decline?
Nothing extraordinary is happening pa rin eh. So ako ang nakikita ko talaga diyan is again we have approached this second part, or we are approaching the second part of his rule, lame duck parang moment. So itong pagliligo doon, itong mga recent changes na nakita natin, again related ito doon sa ina-expect nilang pagbabari ng kanyang popularity.
So I know it's too early to ask this, no? Of course, we all know 2028 is around the corner. We're taking a look at VP Sara right now. Nagparamdam si Senator Risa Ontiveros, but should we also be taking a look at Senator Bongo, given how high his position is and the number of votes he received? So this could possibly be Bongo, Sara going against each other?
Yes, I'm also thinking that with this dynamics between Sara Duterte and Bongo, mukhang magkakaroon din sila ng internal na tension doon. This is not the first time that we have heard of Senator Bongo saying something about his relationship with Sara Duterte. In fact, in 2022 pa lang di ba? So before the campaign started, nag-file din ng candidacy si Bongo, tapos they were very vocal of the kind of relationship that they had that time.
Pero parang yung ano ni FPRRD, it rubs off more on Bongo than VP Sara. Ayun ang take ng ibang tao. Do you agree with that?
Basta ako sa pagkakaalam ko, itong closeness ni Senator Bongo kay former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, meron itong ibang quality na kumbaga nagagamit ni Bongo sa kanyang political career, at yun namang relationship ni Sara Duterte sa kanyang tatay ay iba rin. Kumbaga ang nakikita nilang dito, dynamic. So yung mag-ama kasi hindi rin sila ganun ka-close, or hindi rin sila nagkakasundo eh. So kumpara kay Bongo na talagang very loyal siya sa ating former president, si Sara may tension pa rin sila mag-ama.
But given this survey result, Prof, do you think this will affect the development or movement of the impeachment trial against VP Sara?
Okay, so that's
in terms of
that's
yung senators, judges looking at it.
Yes, that's the most logical way of looking at this, recent survey. So you have these 24 senators. Of course, they will care about their image, their political future. So they will look at this, this recent survey. Again, this involves public opinion, but don't forget that the impeachment trial will begin July, so marami pa pwede mangyari.
Right.
So the impeachment trial will involve, of course, yung prosecution panel. At again, I'm also expecting that the prosecution panel will try its best talaga to give us
solid
the evidences
evidence,
that we need. That we need the information that would really convince the senators. To think of the right judgment that they can give to the Vice President Sara Duterte.
This is the impeachment is going to be a televised event. Well, that's what they call it, an event, no? And we all know this is a political exercise, and history has dictated that they will decide usually based on what's popular. But if the prosecution, given it is televised now, can present overwhelming evidence, di ba? Do you think this is enough for fence-sitters to possibly give, let's say, a guilty verdict versus an acquittal?
Yeah. Again, public opinion. So if the prosecution panel can give us, a very solid, claim, or solid, way of dealing with this case, I'm very sure that the senators will be convinced. Again, if you're going to look back at the previous impeachment cases in the past, you can already see that public opinion really matters. And again, it will really depend on how good the prosecution panel is in doing this process.
Well, I guess tama ka naman, Prof. Marami-rami pa 1 month to go, more than 1 month to go. Marami pang pwedeng mangyari at marami pang pwedeng survey ang mailabas. So we will just stay put. Ano. Siguro kuha ko na lang po din ng reaction sa inyo regarding dun sa earlier report namin kay former Senator Bong Revilla, him filing cases, cyber libel cases doon daw po sa mga fake news na feeling po niya ay propaganda na nagpatalo sa kanya.
I'd like to think that this is part of their strategy. I have been observing, the statement that was made about this case, and unfortunately, yun nga, tama yung nabanggit nyo kanina. This is not the only reason why he lost. I mean, they should have done this with circumspect din. Kasi katulad yan, ang magiging reaction dito ng mga tao is that maraming factor kung ba't siya natalo. One is he joined the alyansa, tapos di ba sinasabi nga natin na talagang ang mga alyansa candidates nababawasan sila ng mga boto eh.
Yeah.
So yung pagsisingle out niya dun sa fake news na sinasabing involved yung pagbabalik ng certain amount. I don't think that it really affected his campaign. Naging lackluster yung kanyang campaign nung mga nakaraang buwan. So makita natin yan doon sa kanyang pag-attend ng mga sorties, tapos delayed na rin yung paglabas ng mga campaign ads niya. So sana yun yung para makita natin dito that this is just perhaps a political move on the part of Senator Bong Revilla na siguro maging relevant siguro siya sa mga panahon ngayon.
Yeah. And very quickly na lang po, Prof, I think yung one of the reasons why siya nanalo before, yung budots niya, is the thing also that
caused him to lose.
Caused him to lose.
Yeah, I mean, the bullets dancing, this has become one of the, sabihin nating, popular memes online. And kung yung parang ina-attribute nilang reason kung bakit siya natalo, yung fake news, I don't think so. Kasi maraming tao pa rin na sa ngayon alam na yung budots, thing, connected sa kanya yun eh. Yun yung parang
naging
siguro
trademark
dapat nire-consider.
Oo. Alright. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras muli, and hope we can see you still again. Thank you so much for your insights, Arjan Aguirre, Assistant Professor at Ateneo de Manila University's Political Science Department. Thank you.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
Now, President Bongbong Marcos urges fellow leaders to expedite discussions on binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. Mobile Journal Julie Baiza has the details.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has once again underscored the urgent need to accelerate the adoption of a legally binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. In his intervention during the plenary of the 46th ASEAN Summit, PBBM said the COC aims to safeguard maritime rights, promote stability, and prevent miscalculations at sea. He also called for deeper regional cooperation among ASEAN member states.
ASEAN has always been an outward-looking community, guided and anchored by a common set of values, our love for peace and concern for the welfare of our peoples. Let me thus urge all member states to remember that to meaningfully engage our partners, we must advance these values and interests, sensitive, of course, to our external partners' respective strengths and challenges.
The president then emphasized the need to uphold and project the values that define ASEAN. He added that these values are peace, inclusivity, and shared progress.
As we support Malaysia's ASEAN chairship in 2025, we stand ready to build on our shared achievements and sustain momentum until 2026.
On the sidelines of the summit, PBBM also met with Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to further strengthen diplomatic relations. The chief executive noted that senior diplomats from the Philippines and Vietnam are currently engaged in discussions aimed at elevating their relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Aside from the Vietnamese Prime Minister, President Marcos also held a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Paetong Tarn Shinawat of the Kingdom of Thailand. Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro said that this was the first bilateral meeting between the two leaders. Their discussions centered on trade and economic relations, agricultural cooperation, and combating transnational crimes. Mobile Journal Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government has confirmed it will formally seek clearance from the International Criminal Court to allow former President Rodrigo Duterte to take his oath as mayor of Davao City. Now, Duterte, who received 662,630 votes in the mayoral race, was declared the winner by the Commission on Elections a day after the polls. DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla said the government recognizes Duterte's win despite his detention in the Netherlands for crimes against humanity. Under the Omnibus Election Code, an elected official must take their oath of office within 6 months of proclamation. Failure or refusal to do so results in the position being declared vacant.
Gagawin ko na lang ay magpapaalam ako sa international sa ICC kung pwede pumunta ang consul natin para makapag-oath siya. Kasi kailangan mag-oath siya to assume office eh. So, in his absence, the Vice Mayor will be there. Pero ang number one concern namin makapag-oath siya as Mayor.
The Agriculture Department held an open discussion with farmers in Bulacan. Secretary Francisco Tiu Laurel Jr. said he hopes to release a floor price for palay before the next harvest season. This comes amid reports of prices going as low as 11 pesos per kilogram. The agriculture chief said this will be based on the expenses of farmers, taking into account fertilizers and seeds. Laurel added that some provisions of the rice tarification law should be reinforced.
Kailangan din yung lahat ng retailers at traders ay kailangan by law is mag-register sa NFA para nga natin makontrol lahat sila. Bulag kami sa NFA kung sino-sino mga ito eh. No, parang it's a cat and mouse game eh, kasi by law hindi na required. So kailangan yun na yung regulatory powers ng NFA kailangan may balik.
The Capital One Solar Spiker secured the first overall pick in the 2025 PVL Rookie Draft after winning the lottery on Monday evening. Capital One entered the lottery with a 30% chance, surpassing NX Led's 40%, who unexpectedly fell to the fourth pick. Galleries Tower claimed the second pick, while Farm Fresh secured third. The draft order continues with Zeus Coffee, Signal Choco Mucho, Cherry Tigo, PLDT, Akari, Petrogas, and Creamline rounding out the remaining picks.
MWell has unveiled its Wellness at Work program designed to foster more productive and healthier workforce. Mobile journalist John Francis Rivera with the details.
MWell, the digital health arm of Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, proudly unveiled its new workplace wellness called Wellness at Work last Friday, May 23 at MPIC Boardroom in Pasig City. This holistic approach aims to foster much healthier and much productive workforce. Included in the program is the corporate scoreboard, which helps measure employees' wellness data from emotional well-being and physical wellness to lifestyle and behavioral support. These tools are highly beneficial for HR teams in building smarter and more preventive strategies.
So today we launched Wellness at Work. The benefits for that would be to enable companies, especially the HR, to really provide an engagement platform for employees, because employees are really the strength and the enabling power of companies. No, they're the most important assets of the business. So for the business to prosper, people have to be really, really healthy.
With this innovation, the demand for comprehensive workplace wellness surges. Given the stress and mental health challenges that affect the majority of the Filipino workers, it aligns with MWell's Wellness at Work campaign, building a healthier, more resilient, and engaged workforce.
Of course, as world changes, diba? Nagiging high-tech na tayo. The technology is actually changing the landscape of healthcare. Ngayon, kahit nasa bahay ka, pwede kang mag-consult sa doctor on your phones and you get management as soon as possible. Or may magbigay ng prescription, pwede mo na siya ipadala sa bahay mo. Diba, i-deliver na lang yung prescription mo sa bahay. I think it's the need that pushes us to innovate.
Employees also gain full access to a personalized wellness experience with a 24/7 doctor consultations, curated fitness and nutrition programs, to interactive team challenges, and wearable health devices that make workforce wellness measurable, accessible, and sustainable. ML also offers Consulta MDs, a digital health services.
You know, wellness should be one of the things that you prioritize. Kailangan alagaan mo sarili mo kasi the only person who can take care of you is you.
MWell is the health technology platform developed by Metro Pacific Health Tech Corporation that offers telemedicine, health and wellness programs, e-commerce, and more in an integrated tech-based healthcare digital ecosystem in the Philippines.
So we encourage everybody to download the MWell app to get your MWellness score. It's actually available on Google and iOS also. And for all the HR heads and the C-levels and the bosses out there to come and get MWell for the Wellness at Work, because it will really, really drive employee engagement and health and wellness for your entire organization.
Mobile journalist J.F. Rivera po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.